Something tells me we're gonna need the donkey.
A Duke volleyball player is speaking out after she and other black teammates were called racist slurs and threatened during a match against Brigham Young University on Friday. Rachel Richardson wrote in a statement, in part, Friday night in our match against Brigham Young University, my fellow African-American teammates and I were targeted and racially heckled throughout the entirety of the match.
But that's not
nice. The slurs and comments grew into threats, which caused us to feel unsafe. Both the officials and BYU coaching staff were made aware of the incident during the game, but failed to take the necessary steps to stop the unacceptable behavior and create a safe environment. They also failed to adequately address the situation immediately following the game when it was brought to their attention again. No athlete, regardless of their race, should ever be subject to such hostile conditions. Richardson's godmother tweeted that her goddaughter was called the N-word every time she served, and that a white man told her to watch her back as she went back to the team bus. Just terrible
Nobody
behavior.
saw this?
Although the heckling eventually took a mental toll on me, I refused to allow it to stop me from doing what I love to do and what I came to BYU to do, which was to play volleyball. I refused to allow those racist bigots to feel any degree of satisfaction from thinking that their comments had gotten to me. So I pushed through and I finished the game. On Saturday, the day after the incident, BYU announced it banned a fan who yelled racial slurs at Richardson. The fan was sitting in the BYU student section but was not a student and has been banned from all athletic venues on campus. The school statement said, "We will not tolerate behavior of this kind, specifically the use of a racial slur at any of our athletic events. It's absolutely unacceptable, and BYU athletics holds a zero-tolerance approach to this behavior."
Somebody go get the donkey. Could you bring the donkey
to Duke University, and especially its student-athlete competing
right
last night for what they
here he is. I love the donkey.
Okay, we'll bring in Marcus Spears. By the way, can I just say one thing really quickly? This statement is incredible, and as you know, an adult, you can learn a lot from this statement from a 19-year-old. It's so well written. But now let's get to the heart of the matter. I just had to mention that as I was going through it. Marcus.
Are you ever not going to fall for that?
Exactly. Are they ever gonna not fall for that? So once again, y'all, apparently there was something that took place at a volleyball game. Pretty sure you heard about it. There were some accusations thrown out there about some racism. And I think at this point, between me, the donkey, and some newfound evidence, we might be able to solve the mysterious case of the racism that took place on BYU's campus. Before we get into this video, make sure you hit like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also, make sure that your notifications are on and they're set to all. Now let's get into this. But first, quick commercial break. Fact for you. Florida is reigniting a debate after it just rolled out Don't Tread on Me license plate earlier this month. Drivers in the Sunshine State can now order Don't Tread on Me license plates complete with the yellow and black image of the Gadsden flag from the Revolutionary War. This is a proud moment for patriots across the country. But what about us and the rest of the other 49 states? So listen closely. I'm going to reveal a new way to showcase Don't Tread on Me without a license plate. The new version of the Don't Tread on Me flag is the United We Stand Gold Challenge coin. And all you have to do is carry this United We Stand coin in your pocket, in your gear, or in your vehicle as a reminder, as a responsibility that we have as patriots to defend our country. In addition to being an honorable accessory to your everyday carry, it doubles as a gift-worthy collectible that will last for generations. Thousands of satisfied Americans proudly carry their United We Stand coin everywhere they go. So you should try, review, and inspect the United We Stand coin with your own hands, risk-free for 60 days, simply by going to www.unitedwestandcoin.com or simply clicking on the link down below. And it's free, and all you have to do is just cover shipping. Now, this is time sensitive, so you gotta hurry. After entering details, you'll receive your United We Stand coin at your doorstep in a few short days. Now, let's get to this video.
I'm not trying to put a blemish on BYU. I'm saying BYU, you did it by allowing this to happen and not addressing it expeditiously, not addressing it with the level of quickness and speed that you should have addressed it with. So now instead of looking at that fool, that racist bastard that was spewing that nonsense towards Miss Rachel Richardson, instead of looking at that person, now we're looking at the university all
looking at you.
of a dereliction of duty that you put put forth because you couldn't find it in yourself to address it immediately. Now we ask the question, well, why? What took you so long? What was the hesitancy about? Were you fearful of a reprimand? Were you fearful of a backlash? If you had decided as a human being to do the right thing and protect this young lady and to make sure she wasn't
we might need the donkey. Bring it in.
For a longer period of time, what was going on? What was the hesitancy about? And since we're talking about BYU, now we are looking at every university of quote-unquote.
Every university,
Every university.
We're looking at everybody. You're listening to brothers now.
I am not your damn brother.
And sisters who looked at one of our little sisters and said, who the hell do y'all think y'all are? What the hell do y'all think y'all doing? Now, I want to make sure that I'm clear. We're not castigating. We're not demonizing white people. We're not literally painting with a broad brush a whole bunch. There's a lot of God-fearing, decent white folks out there. And for those of you who are white, who would never do something like this, we're not talking about you. So don't personalize it and come to the defense because you're white and 3 black men on TV and we're talking about what happened to our little sister here. Don't think we're talking about you because that's the mistake folks in white America make. They make the mistake of thinking you're talking about them when you're talking about some fool who shares their ethnicity, their pigmentation, their culture. And you're saying that's all of y'all. That's not what we're saying. So don't embrace it that way.
No, don't do that.
If you wouldn't do something like that and we ain't talking about you, this ain't applicable.
Not talking to you.
But for those who would do that, who think like that, and have no problem with how that person was acting towards Rachel Richardson, check yourself.
Check yourself. Well, we're going to check the game footage right here and see what happens. Okay, that first serve went pretty smoothly. I didn't hear any racial slurs. Maybe we can hear some the next serve. Who knows? Okay, no reaction by the fans or the players. I guess the young lady right here who's not distracted when she serves is the only one that heard it. Huh. Well, now, see, I got a problem with this because I got a gut feeling that Stephen A. Smith and many of the others in the media is going to have egg on their face. I think they might have jumped out there like many of the people jump out there and they start just saying, hey, man, this is racism and stuff like that without waiting for a proper investigation or for all the facts to come out. And then they might have to end up eating crow if they're willing to do that, if they're brave enough to step up and say, yeah, I made a boo-boo. Because see, my first thought when it comes down to something like this is that's a pretty large amount of people in that audience right there. And I'm thinking none of them are responding to someone who allegedly was making racial slurs the whole time, every time she served, including the young lady who was serving that made the accusation. She didn't turn her head. She didn't stop. She didn't raise her eyebrow. Nothing. No one else heard this. Now, if this is, say, a tall tale by this young lady, she wasn't very smart about the tall tale. See, at least Jesse Smollett tried to make his tall tale have a setting where really, it was just a few people to corroborate the accusation. It was him and the 2 big buff Nigerian dudes, okay? They had to actually dig a little bit, find some video footage, do a little investigating and all of that stuff to figure out that Jesse Smollett created this whole thing and he tried to do it in secret so that you wouldn't have no camera footage and the ability to do what we're about to hear took place. But apparently this young lady assumed that she could make this accusation on national TV where all these cameras, microphones, all these people were there, and no one else would ever, I guess, question it. We could just say, hey, I was a victim of this, and all of the witnesses around you are going, we didn't see nothing. But I guess, so we got an update on what took place in the investigation from BYU. And that is going to be brought to us by my boy, Jason Whitlock. Let's see what's really going on and what's the latest information about this alleged hate crime that took place on college campus.
The latest developments as it relates to BYU, Duke volleyball, and South Carolina basketball. That's quite the trifecta. BYU volleyball, Duke volleyball, South Carolina basketball. You guys know we've talked about on this show the Rachel Richardson, the Duke volleyball player, accuses BYU students of racial taunts, and her godmother she's called the N-word the entire game. And Stephen A. Smith hopped on ESPN and took a dump on her.
One, don't you feel dumb? 2, look at you.
That's right. Don't you feel dumb, Stephen A. Smith, because now you went out there and called some people some harsh words, man, including the man that was kicked out apparently for calling her these names or making these slurs. That man was kicked out, and Stephen A. Smith, as we just witnessed, called him a fool and all kind of stuff. Accused the campus of not handling it properly and all of that stuff. So let's see then what is the latest, and hopefully Steven's watching this update by Jason right here.
And then the next thing you know, Don Staley at South Carolina, we ain't playing basketball against Brigham Young because we support Rachel Richardson, and what happened to her at that volleyball match was an atrocity. Guess what happened today? BYU put out a statement arguing what they found in their investigation was basically nothing happened. As part of our commitment to take any claims of racism seriously, BYU has completed its investigation into the allegation that racial heckling and slurs took place at Duke versus BYU's women's volleyball match on August 26th. We reviewed all available video and audio recordings, including security footage and raw footage from all camera angles taken by BYU TV of the match, with broadcasting audio removed to ensure that the noise from the stands could be heard more clearly. We also reached out to more than 50 individuals who attended the event, Duke Athletic Department personnel and student athletes, BYU Athletic Department personnel and student athletes.
No, wait a minute. You're telling me then that they went on this big time investigation and reached out to all these people? I'm sure in today's very sensitive, polarized atmosphere that we have, there were tons and tons of people lined up to give testimony about what they witnessed, even though they didn't react to whatever Rachel claimed was taking place during the game. They all suppressed that reaction as someone stood right out there screaming loud enough for the young lady to hear from the volleyball court while she was serving multiple N-words every time she served throughout the whole game. But the only person who reacted was nobody. Nobody reacted. So I guess they were just bottling up all that reaction and waiting for afterwards so they can run to the mic and say, hey, I was there, I heard it. That guy did this, that, and this. But let's see if they came forth with these testimonies or with these statements. Here we go.
Event security and management and fans who were in the arena that evening, including many of the fans in the on-court student section. We also reached out to more than 50 individuals who attended the event. From our extensive review, we have not found any evidence to corroborate the allegation that fans engaged in racial heckling or uttered racial slurs at the event. As we stated earlier, we would not tolerate any conduct that would make a student athlete feel unsafe. That is the reason for our immediate response and our thorough investigation. As a result of our investigation, we have lifted the ban on the fan who was identified as having uttered racial slurs during the match. We have not found any evidence that that individual engaged in such activity.
Now, is this the same individual that Stephen A. Smith just called a whole bunch of names? And I'm just not going to blame Stephen because it's apparent that the university jumped the gun too and banned this guy without any investigation. So they're just as guilty as Stephen A. It's just that they tried to protect their reputation and they did a deep dive into this investigation only to find that the fan was also innocent. Now, if they would have done that, that man would still be walking around bearing that albatross around his neck, that albatross of racism. So, yeah, BYU deserves to give that man more than an apology, honestly. And this is something that takes place all the time. You know, companies get accused of something, or a person in a company get accused of something, and then immediately everybody rushed to the mic to try to disavow and judge that person before all the facts come out. This is very dangerous behavior. Thus, you might end up having me have to bring in the jackass. I don't want to disturb the donkey while he's out there in the pasture enjoying himself. But when people make a jackass of themselves, I have no choice but to bring in the donkey. So come on in, donkey.
BYU sincerely apologizes to that fan for any hardship the band has caused. Our fight is against racism, not against any individual or any institution. Each person impacted has strong feelings and experiences, which we honor, and we encourage others to show similar civility and respect. So that's BYU. We're going to take the high road here. We're going to actually do what Duke should have done, what South Carolina should have done, what Rachel Richardson, what her godmother should have done, what her father should have done. Do some investigating before you just come out and smear a group of people. Treat people the way you would want to be treated. When I look at Duke, or when I look at particularly a Dawn Staley at South Carolina, and the way she reacted to what happened at BYU, that's how she should have been looking at this situation, but she didn't. It'll be interesting if Stephen A. Smith and the other racial idolaters, if Dawn Staley, if these guys have the courage.
Jason. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You see Steven up there with that hand open? Yeah, and Jason had to go ahead and drop the mic on him because apparently Stephen A. Smith did what many in the media do. He jumped out there unwisely along with the coach from, I guess, South Carolina's basketball team, who canceled a whole basketball game. I mean, just straight threw the whole university under the bus and made them responsible. Even if the guy would have said that, what would the university have to do with that? Maybe he wasn't even a student. I mean, my thought is, you can't control what people are going to do. And all these accusations flew out there, which prompted an investigation, which it often does, only to find out that there's not enough racism going around for them to make these claims and to have this narrative floating around our country that we're a racist country. And there's always blatant racism out there. And all you have to do is just walk outside and you'll run into it. You'll see it. See, because based on the abundance, the plethora of racial claims that are made on the news and in certain political figures, you would think you wouldn't have to go far to experience some racism. You would think you wouldn't have to concoction some of these cases like this and make these claims only to find out that they were not true. You would think that these were things we would be seeing every single day, every place we go. Sometimes I wonder if people forget what day and age it is. It's 2022. This is not the era of open, blatant racism with no consequences. This is not 1902, where it was popular in the South under the Democrat Party to be an open racist. This is not that era. This is the era that if you were to do what this girl claimed that man did, everybody in that whole stand would have stopped and looked at that person. They would have pointed at that person. They would have filmed that person. They would have brought in the cops to take that person out of there. They would have did all of that. At least they would have turned and looked in shock, because according to the accusations, this person was doing it repeatedly, multiple times, loud enough for the young lady to apparently hear him from serving. So that means the people around him would have heard it as well. That should have been the first red flag that maybe, we might be dealing with another Jesse Smollett, another Bubba Wallace, perhaps. We don't know. But at this point, we do know that after that extensive investigation, they came up with nothing. All that technology, isolating sounds, all of that they went through, only to come up with nothing. So I wonder if Stephen A. and the rest of them are going to have the courage to come up with an apology to that university. And I think Stephen, honestly, should be apologizing to the man he called a fool and all of that stuff, along with the university. And maybe he should get some free tickets to every game for the rest of his life or something, because that man got thrown out for being an alleged racist. One of the worst things that you can call somebody if it's false. You do understand that. And that's why this stuff right here needs to stop. It's dangerous. When you start using this as a political weapon or as a weapon to become some type of victim and some type of hero, because our society wants to elevate you, you popularize it. You make it very appetizing to people to quickly assume the worst, quickly to accuse somebody, and maybe even look for opportunities to become a victim. Yeah, and I think that might be what happened with this young lady. So anyway, guys, here we are again. All right, Donkey, you can go ahead up now. Maybe we'll bring you back if Stephen A. doesn't come out and apologize. Okay, God bless y'all. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. God bless y'all. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos, find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.